Hello you guys. Before I start this video, I will be doing an AO3 fic. Well, not be doing, I will be reading an AO3 fic. And maybe others. What is that? That's a real long name, I'm not saying that. But to you, I will be reading your fic, don't worry. But first, the disappearance, investigation and reappearance of Motermouth Mike, which is a really good fic. Read it first before you watch this video, because my voice will not do it justice. Okay? I will wait. Alright, are you back? Okay, let's read. Anyways, summary. No one in TV world could tell you exactly what happened that fateful night, but they all did know one thing. Mike was gone, and he wasn't coming back. This is really good, by the way, so just shut up and listen. No one knew exactly how it went down, but everyone in TV world heard the fallout. How dare you! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Scram! You little rats! You're all fired! Pippins, Sappers, and Shadow Guys dived out of the way as three blurs ran through the studio, their boss hot on their tails. Open the door, rabbit brain! The smallest and greenest of the trio screeched at the Sapper by the outside gate, causing him to scramble with the code. The group flew past, off into the unknown as Tenna came to a halt outside the door, kicking up dust at the speed of his stop. "And stay out!" Tenna yelled after them, shaking a fist, fangs on full display. He huffed after a moment before turning to the Sapper. "Make sure they don't get back in, and change that door code," he hissed, barely audible to the Sapper, turning to stalk off before the guard could respond. The TV stomped back through the path he'd carved while chasing down the now ex-employees until his looming shadow fell upon the mic room. With a single swipe of his claws, he scratched the name clean off, leaving 3 deep gouges behind. Only then does he turn and retreat into his office, his door swinging closed with surprising gentleness. None of the employees had any idea what had just occurred, but they all knew one thing. Mike, the man who kept this rickety old studio up and running, was gone, and he wasn't coming back. The next few weeks were utter chaos. No one knew what the schedule was, where to be, and what to do. The Pippins were placing bets on how long Tenna's gloomy episode would last. The Shadow Guys were taking the opportunity to host a few concerts, and the Zappers were running themselves ragged trying to keep them all out of trouble. None of them had a clue what they all should be doing, just that they'd get away with more than usual as long as they stayed clear of one specific office. The weathers eventually had enough and took over temporarily. Temporarily, directing the staff and setting up reruns. They had a practice after last time. Occasionally, the zapper that stood guard at the studio doors would hear a knock from outside. It always went unanswered. Time passed, and the sounds from Tenna's office turned from crashes and shrieks into quiet shuffling of furniture and papers. The sounds outside the studio doors quieted as well, knocking softening and fading until it disappeared completely. Finally, Tenna emerged. The man was a wreck. His tie was undone, his jacket was wrinkled, and there was a drag to his step that showed a distinctive lack of sleep. Head hung low, he shuffled through the studio as employees looked unworldly, finally stopping at Ram's bar. Ram, who had remained unaffected despite all the chaos, glanced at him for a moment before sliding Tenna a drink. Tenna took it, sipping at it gloomily, and just sat there for a while in silence while the plug boy patiently stood by, cleaning a glass. "Did you know?" Tenna was facing away from the bartender, but it was obvious who the question was for. What was that, love? Tanner hummed, not looking up from his glass. Did you know? Tanner bit out, grip tightening on the drink in his hand. About them, he clarified after a moment. Ah, yes, I did. The the lads did their best to hide it, but even the most observant of the bunch tended to forget I was a part of the scenery. Ram shrugged. Hardly paid it much mind. None of my beeswax and all that. They were laughing at me, weren't they? Dennis shrunk half an inch, still not looking up from his glass. But the plug boy shook his head. Oh no, not a bit. Those three took things quite seriously, more so than any one could rightly expect. I certainly wouldn't have put in half that much amount of effort if I were in the same position. But why? Dennis Audios took on a slight whine. Was it the money, the power, the free deluxe dinners? Ram dismissed it all with a wave of the rag in his hand. Nah, none of them were clear. Did I just do a Scottish? Sorry. Nah, none of them were clever enough for that, he replied, a smirk etching onto his face. Honestly, they just seemed to like doing it. The TV host froze. Really? As far as I can tell. Ram shrugged, busying himself with putting the now sparkling glass away. The cap the cap bloke was always in a hurry to start his shifts and trying to get your attention. The sapper hated that costume, but put it on anyways for a bit of time, extra time with you. And the green one was to the law. Oh, he'd bitch and moan about all the work he'd done, but if either of the others tried to help him out, he'd pitch a fit. They had their own reasons, I'd imagine, but it sure seemed to me like they were mainly doing it just for the love of it. Nothing more, nothing less. Dennis sat thus, silently for a moment, taking all this in. By now everyone had started gathering at the edges of the green room, peeking through the doorways but not daring to go inside. This meant everyone saw Tennant turn to the bartender, giving him his full attention. Ram, do you know what this means? Everyone also saw when the TVO shot up out of his seat, doubling in size, a huge grin spreading across his face as he threw his hands up. I have fans! Confetti fell from the ceiling as celebratory music fell out. Wow, that's amazing! Fantastic! Stupendously sensational! If I'd known, I would have given them all a raise! He turns to the audience, away from Ram or any of the doors, miming a whisper. I might have not needed to, though, with that double pay. The laugh track plays. Dennis spins to point at the sapper, still standing guard at the studio doors. You! Unlock that door! I have some employees to... He pauses, searching for the right word. Compensate. You've got it, boss. The sapper snapped a stoppy salute, punching in the code before the full sentiment of his boss's words registered. But, boss, I think there's something you should know before going out there. Unfortunately for the remote, the TV was already striding past, paying him no mind. Oh, Mikes! Tanner called out into the snowy void with through cupped hands, turning every which way to spot the trio. It's okay, you can come back inside. His voice cut off sharply, lagging behind as his white smile illuminated the darkness. The mics were curled in on each other. The biggest one had their arms wrapped around the other two, as if shielding them from the elements, with their tail coiled mid-bounce. The shadow guile? Jeez, sorry. The shadow guy had a grimace painted on his face, though it was barely visible from the way he had his head buried against the smallest. One of his arms was wrapped around the smallest, while the other was reaching back to the sapper. And the other one, the one that Tennant knew had been a bright green Pippins not even a month ago, still had one hand raised mid-knock, was waiting to be let in. but nobody came. Then I stood towering over the self-made memorial, acting as its spotlight for some time. He did this. He did this. He did this. Oh Jesus! I'm not reading that. That's just insane. Tanner, are you fucking okay? Yeah, jeez. Finally, when some of the sappers and the Pippins were in the middle of a heated debate on who to send out after him, the CRT began to move. He slowly, carefully scooped up the statues into his arms, cradling it as as he had done with each of the mics so many times, and carried it into the studio. With steady, measured steps, he passed every other word look, every Pippin peering out from behind the door, every shadow guy who made a oh, sorry, my phone just went out. Gee, sorry. Every shadow guy who made a cut of note of surprise, every sap who bounced out of his way as quickly as possible. He passed Ram, who just gave him a sad, knowing look. He passed Shudder, who glanced away. He passed El Niño, who tried to reach out to him, before the Niño pulled her back, shaking his head. At long last he arrived right where everything started, the mic room, untouched since the reveal. He went inside with hardly a pause, the door swinging closed behind him with a firm click. No one saw him again for the rest of the night. No one knew what he did. He might have said what he might have said. Jeez, stop! I do not want this to happen. Stop. Just stop going out. Turning off, I mean. Sorry, Dutch. No one saw him again for the rest of the night. No one knew what he did, or what he might have said. The only people who would have asked were already in there with him, so no one knew what conclusion the Lord of Screens came to that night. They only knew that by the next morning Mike had officially been declared on vacation by the higher-ups, and that their regularly scheduled programming was to air as normal. Just another thing swept under the rug in the lovely little studio they called home. Notes. You knew they were out there, didn't you? Shudder. Now what makes you say that, love? We both take smoke breaks, darling. They were easy to see from the roof. Ah, well, yes, I suppose they were. So why say all that? I suppose it was 'cause they needed to be done. The lot deserved better than to be left out there buried in the snow. And Tanner deserved to know what he'd lost to his little tantrum. It's always something with you, isn't it, Bram? Wouldn't want it another way, love. That okay, so that was part one, at least from made by geez, where is it? Anyways, that was part one of the disappearance, investigation, and reappearance of Motermouth Mike. I'm sorry that there were many mistakes, because it's like, yeah, 2:14 a.m. But like, I did my best, and maybe in a bit I'll do the next part, and then the next part, and then the last part, because I like this series. Yeah, I guess. Bye. Also, subscribe.